Welcome to the Leading Moms Podcast, where every mom has a story. Our aim is for each mom to recognize her significance and belonging, gain a sense of mastery, and be impactful in her business, community, or the simple everyday of her family. And now, here's your host, Christine Pilkington, founder of Leading Moms.
We are now in the 6th year of delivering Leading Moms, and I have had the pleasure and the privilege of being at each and every one of those talks. I've been there for every single time a speaker has delivered her talk and graced our stage. I remember the reactions that the audience was giving her, the expressions, the feeling of the room. This is something that, might not be coming across in these podcasts or in the videos that you see, is how did people feel in the room when these talks were coming? And every single year, I think, we can't do any better, man. That was so good. And yet we come back at it the next year and we have just exceeded expectations. It might not necessarily be better, but in that different mix or the different, of the different speakers and the environment and the audience, those things all come together and they make for a very unique experience, a very unique and special experience every single year we do our show. And yet there are certain talks that really stand out, and it's the ones I don't really imagine going into it that maybe that would be necessarily the most special one or the most memorable one. There's certain talks that really stuck with me and stayed with me, and it has a lot to do with what the reaction was of the audience in the room that day. It's been 5 years since I heard Anna Rice talk and deliver her talk at Leading Moms, and even now, as I was preparing for this podcast and listening to that talk again, I still get chills and I get a little misty even thinking about how riveted we were in that audience hearing her story. And you could hear in her voice, even in the audio, how emotional she was when she was delivering that story and the vulnerability there, which I think that makes this so special. If you don't know who Anna Rice is a 2-time Olympian and 5-time Canadian National Badminton Champion. At the Beijing Olympics, Anna became the very first female singles player from a Pan-American country to achieve a top 10 finish. I mean, she is pretty spectacular. And as a mom of 2 kids, my kids are really into sport. For me, listening to her talk, it's a reminder that my kids are watching me, they're listening to me, and what I say really, really matters to them. You might be caught up as a mom thinking, or a parent thinking, I'm not cheering enough, or I never thought maybe I would be cheering too much. And yet when I came across this website called ilovetowatchyouplay.com, and it made me realize just how much we do, what effect it has on our kids. And really at the end of the day, all we really need to say to them is, I love to watch you play. So now here's Anna.
I actually brought my water bottle with me. I was going to leave it up in the green room, but then Amber's like, is that really your water bottle? And it is. I've gone from fancy sponsored water bottle to this is the most convenient one that fits in my purse. So, and I chose to keep it casual today with my dress. I hope that's okay. I've gone from athlete to student to coach and now mom. So any outfit requiring a bra and requiring more than a sports bra is pretty much black tie formal wear for me. So, plus I wanted to wear this sweatshirt. As Christine said, I'm a athlete ambassador for Right to Play, and since the theme is play, I thought that was fitting. Has anyone in the audience heard of Right to Play? Oh, awesome. So for those of you who haven't, Right to Play is a humanitarian organization that uses sport and play as a tool to teach life skills and health messages to kids in disadvantaged communities all around the world, including here in Canada. So I've been an athlete ambassador for Right to Play since 2004, which basically means that I speak about the organization whenever I can to schools and to clubs and to gatherings like this. But I'm actually not going to talk too much about Right to Play today, but I did want to mention it because it's had a big influence on the message I want to share with you, especially 3 months that I spent in Uganda working with the organization. What I came to tell you today is how my experience as an athlete and the lessons I learned through sport and play have shaped my approach to parenting. Now, full disclosure, I'm less than 2 years into this whole motherhood gig, and my son Robbie will be a year and a half in a couple of weeks, which makes me a total rookie by sports standards. So I'm fully aware that my philosophies and methods towards parenting will change and evolve as I learn. And it goes without saying that I have a ton of learning to do. I mean, we haven't even hit potty training yet. But I'm excited for the learning. In fact, one of the most amazing things for me about becoming a mom has been the learning curve, which mirrors my experience as an athlete. The cheesy but nonetheless true quote that I have on the homepage of my website says, "The most important things I've learned in life, I've learned on the badminton court." And if I had to pick one lesson I found most useful so far as a parent, it would be this. Every situation in life, no matter how major or trivial, is nothing more than an opportunity to learn and to extend love. I know it sounds very Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, but it is, except it has really had a big impact on my life and helped me maximize my experience as an athlete and now as a parent. So in other words, what matters is the process of what I'm doing, not the outcome. Focusing on the process allows me to learn from the experience and truly enjoy it. I'd like to share with you a story from my time as an athlete that really helped me learn this lesson. The story actually takes place over the course of many years, from the time I was around 8 years old, culminating 20 years later in the months leading up to the Beijing Olympics. The star of my story is my dad, who's recently moved to Germany and has no way to defend himself, so I'm totally safe with divulging these stories. My dad was one of those parents that got very uptight and nervous whenever my sisters and I were performing or competing. I have memories all the way back to my earliest tournaments, and I can still remember the look on my dad's face, peering in from the hallway now and again through the little glass. Why was he out in the hallway? Because he was too nervous to be sitting inside the gym to watch. He was too nervous to watch me, a little 8-year-old, play badminton against another cute little 8-year-old. It sounds ridiculous to us, but think about the message that sends to a young person. The result of this badminton game, or this soccer game, or this piano exam, is so important that my mom or dad is getting that worked up about it. Whether consciously or not, a child will make up in their mind that the outcome of this event is really freaking important. So they better perform well or mommy and daddy are going to be upset. So my dad's anxiety around watching me play only gets worse as I get older and more competitive. I start to interpret my dad's not watching as a lack of interest in me and what I'm doing, which for a teenage girl can be pretty heartbreaking. A few more years go by. I've started playing the junior national circuit and competing in the junior national championships. My dad goes so far as to fly across the country to places like Montreal and Winnipeg without telling me, and then proceeds to stay in a hotel for the weekend, calling into the club to get my results each day. Then he'd show up briefly after the medal ceremony, just to let me know he was there. To him, this was the best way he could show his support. To me, I felt sad that he didn't get to share the full experience. Fast forward another 10 years, the Olympics. It's 2008, the months leading up to what will be the highlight of my sporting career, the Beijing Olympics. My entire family has decided to make the trip over to China and cheer me on, including my dad. I asked my dad if he's actually going to sit in the stands and watch me play this time. He grumbles and replies that he may just stay in the hotel and watch on TV. No. Finally, I was going to confront this issue head on. After years of sports psychology sessions and countless conversations with my coach, I was ready. So I sat my dad down, and it all came pouring out. I explained how much pressure I'd felt over the years, and that he didn't have to be nervous, because I had made a fundamental change. I'd realize that the outcome of the match isn't important. No matter what happens in Beijing, I will enjoy the experience and learn from it. I shared with him how much more joy I felt playing now that I didn't need to win, and how the totally zen thing about all this was that by taking my focus away from winning, I freed up all this energy that actually helped me win more often. When I finally stopped talking, I looked up and saw my dad had tears in his eyes. "The reason I get so nervous," he said, "is not because I want you to win for me. It's because I know how much badminton means to you and how much you work at it. All these years, I only ever wanted you to win for you." So my dad came to Beijing, and for the very first time in over 20 years, he sat in the stands for the entire length of all my matches. I can't express to you how special it was for me to be on that court, looking up and seeing my dad in the stands, cheering and smiling. I'm sure I'll treasure that moment more than if I'd won the gold medal. I still got the motherhood hormonal thing going. So now as a mom, my priority above all else is to help my son and myself understand that each and every situation is about enjoying the process and extending love while doing so. R.W. Emerson said it best: "Life is a journey, not a destination." Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Leading Moms Podcast. Did you know the success of our podcast relies on reviews from our listeners? To leave a review, visit leadingmoms.ca/review. Until next time.